For our 1 year plan reading the Holy Bible, we're going to read the book of Luke, chapter 7, verse 1 to chapter 9, verse 30. It says, Jesus finished saying all these things to the people. Then he went into the Capernaum. In Capernaum, there was an army officer. He had a servant who was very sick. He was near death. The officer loved the servant very much. When he heard about Jesus, he sent, a, he sent some he sent some elder Jewish leader to him. He wanted the man to ask Jesus to come and save the life of his servant. The man went to Jesus, and they begged Jesus to help the officer. They said, "This officer is worthy to have your help. He loved our people. He loved our people, and he built the synagogue for us." So Jesus went with them. He was coming near the officer. He was coming near the officer's house when the officer sent friends to say, "Lord, you don't need to do anything special for me. I am not good enough for you to come into my house. That is why I did not come to you myself. You need only to give the order, and my servant will be healed. I know this because and I am a man under the authority of other men, and I have soldier under my authority. I tell one soldier, go, and he goes, and I tell another soldier, come, and he come. And I say to my servant, do this, and my servant obeys me." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed. He said, he said to the people following him, and he turned to the people following him and said, "I tell you, this is the more faith I have seen anywhere, even in Israel." The group that was sent to Jesus went back to the house. There they found that the servant was healed. The next day, Jesus and his followers went to a town called Nam. A big crowd was traveling with them. When Jesus came near the town gate, he saw some people carrying a dead body. It was the only son of a woman who was widow. Walking with her, with her were many other people from the town. When the Lord saw the woman, he felt very sorry for his son and said, "Don't cry." He walked He walked to open the coffin and touched it. The man who were carrying the coffin stopped. Jesus spoke to the dead son. "Young man, I tell you, get up." Then the boy sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. Everyone was filled with fear. They began praising God and said, "A great prophet is here with us, and God is taking care of his people." This news about Jesus spread all over Judea and to all the other places around there. John followed John's followers told him about all these things. John called for two of his followers. He sent them to the Lord to ask, "Are you the one who, who heard was coming, or should we wait for someone else?" So the man came to Jesus. They said, "John the Baptist sent us to you with this question, Are you Are you the one who is coming, or should we wait for someone else?" Right. Then Jesus healed many people of their sicknesses and diseases. He healed those who had evil spirit and make many who were blind able to see again. Then he said to John's follower, "Go, tell John what you have seen and heard. The blind can see, the crippled can walk, people with leprosy are healed, the deaf can hear, the dead are brought back to life, and the good news is being told to the poor. Great blessings belong to those who don't have a problem accepting me." When John's follower left, Jesus began talking to the people about John. "What did you people go out into the desert to see? Someone who is weak, like a stream of grass blowing in the wind. Really, what did you expect to see? Someone dressed in a fine clothes? Of course not. People who wear fancy clothes and live in a luxury are all in king's places. So what did you go out to see? A prophet. Yes, John is a prophet, but I tell you, he is more than that. This scripture was written about him. Listen, I will send many, may, I will send my messenger ahead of you. He will prepare the way for you. I tell you, no one ever born is greater than John, but even the less important person is in God's kingdom is greater than John. When the people heard this, they all agreed that God's teaching was good. Even the tax collector agreed. There were the people who were baptized by John, but the Pharisees and experts in the law refused to accept God's plan for themselves. They did not let John baptize them. What shall I say about the people of this time? What can I compare them to? What are they like? They are like children sitting in the marketplace. One group of children calls to the other children and says, "We played flute music for you, but you did not dance. We sang a sad song, but you did not cry." John the Baptist all come with John the Baptist come and did not eat the usual food or drink wine, and you say he has a demon inside him. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you say, "Look at him. He eats too much and drinks too much wine. He is a friend of tax collector and other sinners, but wisdom is shown to be right by those who accept it. One of the Pharisees asked Jesus to eat with him. Jesus went into the Pharisee's house and took a place at the table. There was a simple woman in that town. She knew that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. So the woman brought some expensive perfume in an alabaster jar. She stood at Jesus' feet, crying. Then she began to wash his feet with her tears. She dried his feet with her hair. She kissed his feet many times and rubbed them with the perfume. When the Pharisees was asked Jesus to come to his house, so this, he thought to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know that the woman who is touching him is a sinner. In response, Jesus said to the Pharisees, Simeon, I have something to say to you. Simeon said, Let me hear it, teacher. Jesus said, There were two men. Both men owed money to the same bank. One man owed him 500 silver coins. The other man owed him 50 silver coins. The man had no money, so they could not pay their debt. But the banker told the man that, they did not have to pay him, but to pay him. Which one of those two men will love him more? Simeon answered, I think it will be the one who owed him the most money. Jesus said, Jesus said to him, You are right. Then he turned to the woman and said to Simeon, Do you see this woman? When I come into your house, who gave me you gave me no water for my feet, but she washed my feet with her tears and dried my feet with her hair. You did not greet me with a kiss, but he had been kissing my feet since I came in. You did not honor me with oil for my head, but she rubbed my feet with her sweat smelling oil. I tell you that her many sins are forgiven. This is clear because she showed great love. People who are forgiven only little will love only a little. Then Jesus said to her, Your sins are forgiven. The people sitting at the table began to think to themselves, Who does this man think he is? How can he forgive sins? Jesus said to the woman, Because you believe you are saved from your sins, go in peace. The next day, Jesus traveled through some cities and small towns. Jesus told the people a message from God, the good news about God's kingdom. The 12 apostles were with him. There were also some women with him. Jesus had healed this woman of sicknesses and evil spirit. One of them was Mary, who was called Magdalene. 7 demons had come out on her. Also with this woman were Juana, the wife of Chusa, Susanna, and many other women. These women used their own money to help Jesus and his apostles. A large crowd came together. People came to Jesus from every town, and he told them this story. A farmer went out to sow seed. While he was scattering the seed, some of it fell beside the road. People walked on the seed, and birds ate it all. Other seed fell on rock. It began to grow, but then, because it had no water, some other seed fell among thorny weeds. This seed grew, but later the weeds stopped the plants from growing. The rest of the seed fell on a good ground. This seed grew and made 2 times more grains. Jesus finished the story. Then he called out, "You people who hear me, listen." Jesus' followers asked him, "What does this story mean?" He said, "You have been chosen to know the secret truth about God's kingdom, but I use stories to speak to other people. I do this I do this so that they will look, but they will not see, and they will listen, but they will not understand." This is what the story means. The seed is God's teaching. Some people are like the seeds that fell beside the path. They hear God's teaching, but then the devil comes and causes them to stop thinking about it. This keeps them from believing it and being saved. Others are like the seed that falls on rock. This is like the people who hear God's teaching and gladly accept it, but they don't have the they don't have deep roots. They believe for a while, but when trouble comes, they turn away from God. What about the seed that falls among the thorny weeds? This is the people who hear God's teaching, but they let the worries, sicknesses, and pleasure of this life stop them from growing, so they never produce a crop. And what about seed that falls in a good grounds? That is the people who hears God's teaching with a good, honest heart. They obey it and patiently produce a good crop. No one lights a lamp and then cover it with a bowl or hides it under a bed. Instead, they put the lamp on a lampstand so that people who come who come in will have enough light to see. Everything that is hidden will become clear. Every secret things will be made known, and everyone who see it. So think carefully about what you are hearing. The people who have some understanding will receive more, but those who do not have understanding will lose even that they think they have. Jesus' mother and brother came to visit him, but they could not get close to him because there were so many people. Someone said to Jesus, "Your mother and your brother are standing outside. They want to see you." Jesus answered them, "My mother and my brother are those who listen to God's teaching and obey it." One day, Jesus and his followers got into the boat. He said to them, "Come with me across the lake." And so they started across. While they were sitting, Jesus slept. A big storm blew across the lake, and the boat began to fill with water. They were in danger. The follower went to Jesus and woke him. They said, Master, Master, we will drown. Jesus got up. He gave a command to the wind and the waves. The winds stopped and the lake became calm. He said to his followers, Where is your faith? They were afraid and amazed. They said to each other, What kind of man is this? He commanded the winds and the water, and they obey him. Jesus and his followers sailed on across the lake. They sailed to the area where the Gerasenes people live, across from Galilee. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man from that town came to him. This man had demons inside him. For a long time he had wore no clothes. He did not live in a house but in the caves where the dead where the dead are buried. The demon inside the man had often seized him, and he had been put in jail with his hands and feet in chains. But he would always break the chains. The demon inside him would force him to go out to the places where no one lived. Jesus commanded the evil spirit to come out of the man. When the man saw Jesus, he fell down before him, shouting loudly, What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of Most High God? Please don't punish me. Jesus asked him, What is your name? The man answered, Legion, because many demons had gone into him. The demons begged Jesus not to send them into the bottomless pit. On the hill, there was a big herd of pigs eating. The demons begged Jesus to allow them to go into the pigs. So he allowed them to do this. Then the demon came out of the man and went into the pig. The herd of pigs ran down the hill into the lake, and all were drowned. The men who were carrying the pig ran away and told the story in the fields and in the town. People went out to see what happened. They came to Jesus and found the man sitting there at the feet of Jesus. The man had clothes on and was in his right mind again. The demons were gone. This made the people afraid. The men who saw these things happen told the others about how Jesus made these men. All those who live in the area around Gerasa asked Jesus to go away because they were afraid. Jesus got into the boat to go back to Galilee. The man he had healed begged to go with him, but Jesus sent him away, saying, Go back home and tell people what God did for you. So the man went all over the town telling what Jesus had done for him. When Jesus went back to Galilee, the people welcomed him. Everyone was waiting for him. A man named Jairus came to him. He was a leader of a synagogue. He had only one daughter. She was 12 years old and she was dying. So Jairus bowed down at the feet of Jesus and begged him to come to his house. While Jesus was going to Jairus' house, the people crowded all around him. A woman was there who had been bleeding for 12 years. She had spent all her money on doctors, but no doctor was able to heal her. The woman came behind Jesus and touched the bottom of his coat. At that moment, her bleeding stopped. Then Jesus said, "Who touched me?" They all said they had not touched him. And Peter said, "Master, people are all around you, pushing against you." But Jesus said, "Someone touched me. I feel power go out from me." When the woman saw that she could not hide, she came forward shaking. She bowed down before Jesus. While everyone listened, she told why she touched him. Then he said that she was healed immediately when she touched him. Jesus said to her, "My daughter, you are made with you are made you are made well because you believe. Go in peace." While Jesus was still speaking, someone came from the house of the synagogue leaders and said, "Your daughter has died. Don't bother the teacher anymore." Jesus heard this and said to Jairus, "Don't be afraid. Just believe and your daughter will be well." Jesus went to the house. He let only Peter, John, James, and the girl's father and mother go inside with him. Everyone was crying and feeling sad because the girl was dead. But Jesus said, "Don't cry. She is not dead. She is only sleeping." The people laughed at him because they knew that the girl was dead. But Jesus healed her, held her hands and called to her, "Little girl, stand up." Her spirit came back into her, and she stood up immediately. Jesus said, "Give her something to eat." The girl's parents were amazed. He told them not to tell anyone about what happened. Jesus called his 12 disciples together. He gave them power to heal sicknesses and power to force demons out of people. He sent them to tell about God's kingdom and to heal the sick. He said to them, "When you travel, don't take a walking stick. Also, don't carry a bag, food, or money. Take for your trip only the clothes you are wearing. When you go into a house, stay there until it is time to leave. If the people in the town will not welcome you, go outside the town and shake the dust off your feet as a warning to them." So as the apostles went out, they traveled through all the town. They told the good news and healed people everywhere. Herod the, Herod the ruler heard about all these things that were happening. He was confused because some people said, John the Baptist, John the Baptizer has been risen from dead. Others said, Elijah had come to us. And, and some others said, one of the prophets from long ago has risen from death. Herod said, "I cut off John's head. So who is this man I heard these things about?" Herod continued trying to see Jesus. When the apostles came back, they told Jesus what they had done on their trip. Then he took them away to a town called Bersaba. There, he and his apostles could be alone together, but the people learned where Jesus went and followed him. He welcomed them and talked with them about God's kingdom. He healed the people who were sick. Late in the afternoon, the 12 apostles came to Jesus and said, "No one lives in this place. Send the people away. They need to find food and places to sleep in the farms and towns around here." But Jesus said to the apostle, "You give them something to eat." They said, "We have only 5 loaves. We have only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Do you want us to go buy food for all those for all these people? There are too many." Jesus said to his followers, "Tell the people to sit in in a group of about 50 people." So the followers did this, and everyone sat down. Then Jesus took the 5 loaves and bread and 2 fish. He looked up into the sky and thanked God for the food. Then he broke it into pieces, which he gave to the followers to give to the people. They all ate until they were full, and there was a lot of food left. 12 baskets were filled with the pieces of food that were not eaten. One time, Jesus was praying alone. His followers came together there, and he asked them, "Why do the people say I am?" They answered, "Some people say you are John the Baptizer, others say you are Elijah, and some people say you are one of the prophets from long ago that has come back to life." Then Jesus said to his followers, "Who do you say I am?" Peter answered, "You are the Messiah from God." Jesus warned them not to tell anyone. Then Jesus said, "The Son of Man must suffer many things. He will be rejected by the elders, Jewish leader, the leading priests and teachers of the law, and he will be killed. But after 3 days, he will be risen from death." Jesus continued to say to all of them, Any of you who want to be my follower must stop thinking about yourself and what you want. You must be willing to carry the cross that is given to you every day for following me. Any of you who try to save this life you have will lose it, but you who give up your life for me will save it. It is worth nothing for you to have the whole world if yourself are destroyed or lost. Don't be ashamed of me and my teaching. If that happen, I will be ashamed of you when I come with my divine greatness and that of the Father and the holy angels. Believe me when I say that some of you people standing here will see God's kingdom before you die. About 8 days late, about 8 days after Jesus said these things, he took Peter, John, and James and went up on a mountain to pray. While Jesus was praying, his face began to change. His clothes became shining white. Then 2 men were there talking with him. They were Moses and Elijah. They also looked bright and glorious. They were talking with Jesus about his death that would happen in Jerusalem. Peter and the other were asleep, but they woke up and saw the glory of Jesus. They also saw the two men who were standing with him. When Moses and Elijah were leaving, Peter said, Master, it is good that we are here. We will put three tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While Peter was saying these things, a cloud came all around them. Peter, John, and James were afraid. When the cloud covered them, a voice came from the clouds and said, This is my son. He is the one I have chosen. Obey him. When the voice stopped, only Jesus was there. Peter, John, and James said nothing. And for a long time after that, they told no one about what they have seen. The next day, Jesus, Peter, and John, and James came down from the mountain. A large group of people met Jesus. A man in a group shouted to him, Teacher, please come and look at my son. He is the only child I have. An evil spirit came into him, and then he shouted. He loses control of himself and foams of the mouth. The evil spirit continued to hurt him and almost never leaves him. I beg your followers to make the evil spirit leave my son, but they could not do it. Jesus answered, You people today have no faith. Your lives are all wrong. How long must I be with you and be patient with you? Then Jesus said to the man, Bring your son here. While the boy was coming, the demon threw the boy to the ground. The boy lost control of himself, but Jesus gave a strong command to the evil spirit. Then the boy was healed, and Jesus gave him back to his father. And the people were amazed at the great power of God. The people were still amazed about all these things Jesus did. He said to his followers, Don't forget what I will tell you. What I will tell you now. The Son of Man will soon be handed over to the control of other men. But the followers did not understand what he meant. The meaning was hidden from them, so that they could not understand it. But they were afraid to ask Jesus about what he said. Jesus' followers began to have an argument about which one of them was the greatest. Jesus knew what they were thinking, so he took a little so he took a little child and stood the child beside him. Then he said to the followers, Whoever accepts a little child like this in my name is accepting me, and anyone who accepts me is also accepting the one who sent me. The one among you who is the most humble, this is the one who is great. John answered, Master, we saw someone using your name to force demons out of people. We told him to stop because he did not belong to us. Jesus said to him, Don't stop him. Whoever is not against you is for you. The time was coming near when Jesus would leave and go back to heaven. He decided to go to Jerusalem. He sent some men ahead of him. They went into the town of Samaria to make everything ready for him. But the people there would not welcome Jesus because he was going toward Jerusalem. James and John, the followers of Jesus, saw this. They said, Lord, do you want us to call fire down from heaven and destroy these people? But Jesus turned and criticized them for saying this. Then he and his followers went to another town. They were all traveling along the road. Someone said to Jesus, I will follow you anywhere you go. He answered, the foxes had holes to live in, the birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place where he can rest his head. Jesus said to another man, follow me. But the man said, Lord, let me go and bury my father first. But Jesus said to him, let the people who are dead bury their own dead. You must go and tell about God's kingdom. Another man said, I will follow you, Lord, but first let me go and say goodbye to my family. Jesus said, anyone who begins to plow a field but look back is not prepared for God's kingdom. The word of God. Amen. Thank you so much po for this another reading na atin pong binasa at sana po bukas ay patuloy niyo po akong samahan sa pagbabasa po natin ng ating 1 year reading of Holy Bible. Ganito rin pong oras. Salamat po. Bye-bye.